I ditched the American dream at 46 years old, and here are 6 things that I wish I knew in my 20s and 30s. Welcome back to Empty Nest Finance with Saida. This is a channel where I share what life is like redefining my finances as an empty nest mom and grandma, and also wife to my amazing husband. 4 years ago, I decided to leave the US and live abroad and also travel full time. I live most of the year in Nairobi, Kenya, and then the rest of the year I'm traveling around the world, whether it's Southeast Asia, West Asia, or Europe, or we're back in the US. What I would want my 20 and 30-year-old self to know is that you don't need as much money to live abroad as you think. So when I would think and imagine myself traveling abroad or living abroad, and I would look up flights, hotels, cost of living abroad, I just couldn't figure out how it would make sense between what our monthly expenses were in the US and what it would cost to live abroad. And that's because I just didn't have the information. I didn't know about geo arbitrage, which is basically living somewhere else while making money in the US. I didn't know about alternative currencies like points and miles. So I couldn't figure out how I would pay to get from one place to the other on a consistent basis. But now that I'm in my 40s, now that I've gained more knowledge about traveling, slow traveling, living abroad full time, working abroad, working remotely, digital entrepreneurship, it all makes sense. So if there was anything I would tell my 20 and 30-year-old self is don't worry, you'll figure it out. You don't have all the answers right now, but begin to do the research. Begin to research geo arbitrage. Begin to build your skills as an entrepreneur. Begin to research other countries. The other thing I would tell myself in my 20s and 30s is that other countries are not necessarily how the media negatively portrays them. My husband and I have been all over the world, and I remember there was a time that we were kind of scared to go certain places. We thought certain places were dangerous. Even with everything that's going on in Dubai, we've been to Dubai many, many times, and we love going to Dubai. It is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And, West Asia is just one of those places that if you're a traveler, it's going to be on your bucket list. We've been all over Southeast Asia, and we're just getting started. We didn't know that we would love Vietnam as much as we did. In our mind, when we thought of Vietnam, we thought of the Vietnam War, and we thought about our grandfathers and great grandfathers who fought in the Vietnam War. We were like, who goes to Vietnam, right? But now that we've gone to these places and we've seen them for ourselves, Da Nang, Vietnam is actually one of our favorite places to be in the world now. Like, it is so chill and so relaxing there. So even living in Nairobi, Kenya, when we used to see about Kenya, a lot of times US media will show you Africa in a negative light. They'll show you distended stomachs and kids with flies on them and people starving. And so when they say Africa, yeah, it could be somewhere in Africa where somebody is starving or there are some flies on some kids or whatever the case may be. But that is not every country in Africa. And a lot of the countries in Africa are great countries to visit, as we are beginning to see for ourselves. Places like Ghana and Uganda and Kenya, South Africa, Namibia. There's so many different places to visit. Mauritius. Mauritius has some of the most beautiful beaches you could ever see. There's so many other places on the planet to visit, aside from the places that media is pushing as the places that are safe. The next thing that I would tell myself in my 20s and 30s is that these will be some of the most stress-free years of your entire life. So raising my children, being a mother, being uncertain about the future, not knowing if we saved enough, wondering if I made the wrong decision by being at home full time and not actually making money and contributing to our family's economics. I wondered if it was the wrong decision. Like, there's a lot of great days as a mother and a wife, but there are some days that are stressful also. There are some days that you wonder, am I messing these kids up? Am I losing my mind some days? Some days you just don't know if you're cut out for motherhood. Some days you don't know if you made the right thing, doing the right thing with marriage. You don't know. Especially me, I got married when I was 22. So getting married young and then not having someone in my life as a mentor. Yeah, for me, there was a lot of stressful days. But what I realized is that the Bible says your latter days will be greater. So now that I'm an empty nester and I'm past the motherhood and raising of kids stage, now I'm able to do things that are specifically things that I want to do and not taking into account how it will affect my children or what it is they want. The stressful part of my life is my husband asking me, where do I want to go next? What flight do I want to take? What seat do I want to sit in? And I'm just like, don't put me by the bathroom. So those are the most stressful parts. Sometimes checking in is stressful, but it's no real stress when it comes to this life. Like, this life is actually amazing. And so if you guys are interested in learning how we actually live this life, make sure you go back and you check out my videos. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to just be laying it all out, because I want people to know that this life is achievable and it is attainable. And the last thing that I wish I knew in my 20s and 30s is that I would really get to know myself in my 40s. In my 20s and 30s, I was winging it. In my 20s and 30s, I was living for my children and living for my husband. My whole life was being their mother, making sure I was available for them, even at the expense of being available for myself. And I don't regret any moments of it. If I had to do it all again, I would give myself for my kids. And this is something that I even, struggled with in my mid 40s. I was wondering, did I give too much? Did I sacrifice too much? But between the time that I was 45 and 49, I began to realize I didn't give too much. I gave everything that I was supposed to give to my kids. And now that our oldest is a mom, and her and her husband are raising our grandchildren, and we are watching our adult children carve out their own lives, I have no regrets. But I am very happy that now in my 40s, I get to really understand who I am, who I was then, and who I am now, and who I intend to be. So clarity comes with age. And so that's one thing I would tell my 20 and 30-year-old self. Clarity will come with age. And not to worry so much. Try not to worry so much. Everything will work itself out. Just continue to improve yourself. Continue to grow in your walk with the Lord. Continue to grow and learn new skills and learn new things. Continue to educate yourself. Even though you're not working in a career, I would say continue to educate yourself as you did. I love that the internet was a tool when I was in my 20s and 30s, because I was using the internet for everything. And the internet is how I was able to actually become a digital entrepreneur and work remotely and still be at home with my children, still be available for my husband, still homeschool my children a few years out of their childhood. So all of those skills, all of that information is going to give you the clarity that you need when you're in your 40s. Don't worry so much about what the 40s will look like. I would tell my 20 and 30-year-old self, enjoy this time and let the 40s take care of the 40s. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to go back and check out a few of our other videos, which I will link to at the end of this video. Bye, guys.